Mercury is the nearest planet to the Sun, and it is a smallest planet of our solar system, because Mercury is very close to the Sun and it is very difficult to observe it, as most as of the time it is hidden in the glare of the Sun. So however, it can be observed just before sunrise or just after sunset. And if student we see, if we want to see Mercury, then observe sky just before sunset and just before sunrise and after before sunset. So it is visible only at a place where trees or buildings do not obstruct the view of the horizon. And Mercury has no satellites of its own. So students, remember that Mercury has no any satellites of its own. Now, second planet is about Venus. It means Shukra. Venus is Earth's nearest planetary neighborhood. It is the brightest planet in the night sky. So students, if we observe night sky, then we see that the brightest planet, it means Venus. Sometimes Venus appears in the eastern sky before sunrise, and sometimes we see in eastern sky before sunrise. Sometimes it appears in the western sky just before after sunset. Therefore, it is often called a morning or evening star. And that's why we call it the evening star. Although it is not a star, but it is not actually a star. Try to locate Venus in the night sky. So student, also try to locate Venus in the night sky. It means western sky just before sunset. Next is about activity 17.10. Find out from some newspaper or from an almanac the time when Venus is visible in the sky. You can easily recognize Venus by its brightness. So remember that Venus cannot be seen very high in the sky. You must try to observe Venus either 1-3 hours before sunrise or 1-3 hours after sunset. So student, try to locate the Venus in the night sky. Venus has no moon or satellite of its own. Also student, Venus has no any moon or no any satellites of its own. Rotation of Venus on its axis is somewhat unusual. It rotates from east to west while the Earth rotates from west to east. So remember the rotation of the Venus. It's just opposite towards. If you get a chance to try to observe Venus through the telescope, you will observe that Venus shows face just like the moon. So student, if you try to see the Venus in night sky, so you look like just face of moon. So here you can see that. Now, next planet is about our Earth. Earth is the only planet in the solar system on which life is known to exist. So some special environmental conditions are responsible for the existence and continuation of the life on the Earth. So student, we know that in our solar system only Earth has an atmosphere, and only human life is possible all the organism life, living organism life is possible only on the Earth. This includes just the right distance from the Sun, so that has the right temperature range, the presence of water and suitable atmosphere, and a blanket of ozone. So student, we know that the distance between Sun to Earth, from Sun to Earth, is exactly right distance. So that's why atmosphere and right temperature range on the Earth, and that's why the presence of water and suitable atmosphere and the blanket of ozone is present on the earth. From space, the earth appears blue pink due to the reflection of light from water and landmass on its surface. So it means blue part is represented water areas and green part is represented our forest. The axis of rotation of the earth is not perpendicular to the plane of its orbit. The time is responsible for the change of season on the earth, and the earth has only one moon. So we know that our earth has only one moon and we can see in a night sky. Now next student, next planet is Mars. It means Mangal. The next planet, the first outside the orbit of the earth is Mars. So first planet to the next orbit of the earth means Mars. It appears slightly reddish and therefore it is also called the red planet. So the surface of this planet is look a red color and that's why we call it a red planet. Mars has two small natural satellites. And students, remember that Mars has two small natural satellites. Second planet is about Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet of the solar system. It is so large that about 1,300 Earths can be placed inside this giant planet. It means, student, if we collect 1,030 Earth, then it is equal to a 1 Jupiter. So, large planet of our solar system is a Jupiter. However, the mass of Jupiter is about 318 times that of our Earth, and it rotates very rapidly on its axis. Student, here you will see that Jupiter and its 4 large satellites. So Jupiter has 4 large natural satellites. Jupiter has a large number of satellites. It also has a faint ring around it. You can easily recognize Jupiter as it appears quite bright in the sky. So student, we see that the bright rings around the Jupiter. If you observe it with the help of the telescope, you can see also 4 of its dark moons. If you can try to observe with the help of telescope, so you can see that satellites of Jupiter. Now next satellite is Saturn. It means Shani. Beyond Jupiter is Saturn, which appears yellowish in color. Next to the Jupiter, it means Saturn, and it's a yellow color. What makes it unique in the solar system? Its beautiful ring. So student, here you can see that Saturn has a one beautiful ring around that surface, and these rings are not visible with the naked eyes. You cannot see directly this ring, but you can observe them with this small telescope. Saturn also has a large number of satellites, and Saturn has also large number of satellites. One interesting thing about Saturn is that it is the least dense among all the planets, and its density is less than that of water. Now next and last is about the Uranus and Neptune. These are all the outermost planet of the solar system, and they can be seen only with the help of large telescope, because the distance between these two planets and Sun is too large, and that's why we cannot see directly but with the help of large telescope. Like Venus, Uranus also rotates from east to west. The most remarkable feature of Uranus is that it is highly tilted rotational axis, and as a result in its orbit motion it appears to roll on its sides. Now the first 4 planets, it means Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars much near the sun than the other four planets. So they are called the inner planets. So student, before just Earth, four planets are the inner planet, and after the Earth, four planets are the outermost planets. Here you can see that Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune are much further off than the Sun. So these are the called outer planet. They have a ring system around them, and the outer planet have a large number of moons. Now next, some other members of the solar system. So student, here we discussed only a planet of solar system. Then what about the other member of the solar system? So now today we will learn other member of solar system. So in which first there are some other bodies which revolve around the sun. They are also the member of the solar system. So let us learn about some of them. So in which first is asteroids. These are the large gap between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter. So student, here you can see that this orbit is Mars and the next is Jupiter. So between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter we can see a blackish line. So what is this? This gap is occupied by the large number of small objects that revolve around the sun. So it's a large number of small objects and they are revolve around the sun. So these are called asteroids, and asteroids can only be seen through a large telescope. So we cannot see it with a small telescope but use of large telescope. Next is comets. Comets are also member of our solar system. They revolve around the sun in highly elliptical orbits. However, their period of revolution around the sun is usually very long. So a comet appears generally as a bright head with a long tail. So here student, you can see that bright head with long tail. A comet appears generally as a bright head with a long tail, and the length of the tail grows in the size as it approaches the sun. So the tail of a comet is always directed away from the sun. So here you can see the student. Position of comet. Many comets are known to appear periodically. It means they are appear time to time. One such a comet is Halley's comet, and which appear after nearly every 76 years. It was last seen in 1986. Can you tell then when Halley's comet will be visible again? So student, add 76 year in 1986, and after that we can see Halley's comets. Next is meteors and meteorites. At the night, when the sky is clear and the moon is not there, you may sometime see bright patch on light in the sky, and these are commonly known as shooting stars. So student, here you can see that in this picture we can see that bright light and is called shooting star. Although they are not stars, but it is not star student, they are called meteors. A meteor is usually a small object that occasionally enters the Earth's atmosphere, and at that time it has a very high speed. The friction due to the atmosphere hits its Earth, and the friction due to the atmosphere of Earth, it hits it and it glows and evaporates quickly, and that is why the bright sketch lasts for a very short time. Some body that reaches the earth is called meteorites. The meteorites help scientists in investigating the nature of material from which the solar system was formed. Now next, students, we know that natural satellite of our earth, and now it's about artificial satellites. It means man-made satellites which we are launched in space. You must have heard that there are a number of artificial satellites which are orbiting the earth. You might wonder how artificial satellites are different from the natural satellites. The artificial satellites are man-made. They are launched from the earth. They revolve around the earth much closer than earth natural satellites do. So only one natural satellite of our earth is more. And the artificial satellites are also revolve around the earth much closer than the natural satellites more. India has built and launched several artificial satellites. First, Aryabhat was the first Indian satellite, and some other Indian satellites are Insta, IRS, Kalpana 1, EduSat, etc. Artificial satellites have many practical applications. They are used for forecasting weather, tsunami, television, and radio signal. Transmitting and television and radio signals, they are also used for telecommunication and remote sensing. So students, remember that uses of artificial satellites. Here you can see that some India's artificial satellites. Thank you.